Welcome, everybody. This is Transition Clarity. I'm your host, Adele Bernard, and we're here having season 2 of Authentic Conversations with Adele podcast. And today I'm happy to welcome my friend Peter Hursey, the wellness property doctor. And basically, I've been doing this work a long time, and he showed up with totally different tools, totally different background, and I love what I've been learning. And I'm so glad I showed up to the networking where we met because it's just been the best to have him in my life. But more importantly, we're going to share today with everybody why you would want to get your property looked at. What is in the leylands or in the meridians that we have no idea, right? And I believe like Peter comes to it from a very unique background, trained, you know, in the corporate world as we all have escaped from, but also has a lot of like Qigong and Reiki and the metaphysical side too. I'll let you read his bio in the notes. It's all explained there. But most importantly, I want to welcome my friend Peter to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Mateo. Good morning to you from Tassie.
Yeah. So just give a little background to how you decided corporate wasn't for you anymore and that you actually had this gift that was in you to bring to the world.
Mm, quite a torturous path. I think the universe decided I wasn't meant for the corporate world, and I was getting a bit of a rough time in that sort of space, and a bit of a slow learner. And yeah, you get smacked around a few times, and you think, okay, time to change direction. And going back probably about 30 years ago, I got chronic fatigue and started looking for answers and discovered all these modalities and things out there outside the realms of normal medicine. And because normal medicine wasn't helping me, and had no idea what was going on or how to help me or give me any clues at all, really. So yeah, went looking and discovered things like qigong and reiki and yeah, geomancy as well, and looking at properties and also looking at the world of consciousness and being able to see the world differently and a much bigger picture of how the world actually works out there. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting how so many of us that are in this journey now, using our innate inner gifts of healing, we're always the first client. We're always the ones that have to show up for us to say, this isn't working. This world is harsh, right? How do we heal our bodies to be able to work in this world?
Yeah. Yeah. I think too that we get so many barriers to us moving and changing forward in there. We get so wrapped up with having to have a certain sort of a house and maintaining a family and a mortgage and a car and the uh, the path through to transitioning into doing something and working for yourself can be a little bit daunting.
Mm-hmm.
And you've gone from a nice corporate salary to sort of working week to week, and uh, I looked at a bit of advertising, bit of marketing sort of stuff, but I thought, well, who's my market? What sort of people need me? Uh, People like myself. Hopefully, there's other people out there not as crazy as me, but yeah, where do you go with that side of things? How do you get moving? Um, and then being able to not put those fears out there because then you're manifesting more fears of lack and limitations and learning how to balance all that sort of stuff and yeah, so things like Facebook and Instagram. I said, oh, I'll keep my family entertained basically, and a few friends entertained with some of my posts and bits and pieces. But really, I find when I'm in alignment, people find me, and that's the best
Well,
marketing I can really do.
and that is so key because um so like I'll just share a bit of backstory of mine. Like, so I had a company of doing property, right? Like helping people clear the energetic crud out of their property or their home or whatever, right? Because it's like we do the cleansing for our bodies, but we're not doing it for our home. And
Hmm.
I actually got into the work because I'd be like, I'd go for a massage, I'd come home, and within 10 minutes of being home, I was like, well, that was a waste of money. I didn't feel like I had my massage,
Yep.
right? Because yeah, I dumped everything at the massage, but then I came home to the same crud. And so
Yep.
um and then the transformation also with the transition clarity was like it's even taking it further, right? Because
Mhm.
we can do the property, but we also have to do the work on ourselves to keep the property clear.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? That
And that's what I've been learning the most from you is because it's like, but I've been clear, like I've been doing, and you're like, oh, but more's gotten in. I'm like, what do you mean? And so I can't admit. So this is what I'm saying is that we're in this work. We live, breathe, do the work.
yeah,
And it's like, we always got to be checking in. And so
do.
when we think about being in alignment, right? When we say being in alignment, the people will show. It's so true. Even if you don't understand this work, even if you are in the 95 corporate, and we all need those people for us to be able to do our work, you got to think about what's that project you're working on? What's that plan you're working on? And if it's a struggle, take a breath, you're not in the flow.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
And I'm not
definitely.
trying to simplify it, but really, it's that simple.
Yeah, well, basically, we synchronize ourselves to our environment. So if our environment's sick, we become sick. So to have a foundation for you moving forward, the main spaces that you spend time need to be supporting you.
Hmm.
And I can go into all sorts of technical terms of ley lines and earth energies and things that I look for. But
Hmm.
if you bring it down to all the basics, they're vibrations of dis-ease coming out of the ground or in your environment, or that you've got going on emotionally from your past or past lives or whatever's coming through to be dealt with. And
Well,
you balance all those vibrations and make them harmonious, and then you start to move forwards.
and I don't know if people actually caught what you said.
Sorry.
No, no, no. It's good because you actually paused by saying, instead of saying disease, it was you said dis-ease. Where
Yeah,
is the dis-ease in your life, in your body, in your home that is keeping you out of the flow of where you're supposed to be,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
And so it's in the understanding of the flow that when you get that stickiness or that dis-ease of something, you go, what's going on? Right. And I always use the analogy of like, so you can have an apple on a Monday when your vibration's really high,
Mm,
everything's going good. You have a bad day and you go, well, I just need something to eat. And I'll go have an apple on a Wednesday and your vibration's low. I'll tell you, you're going to have stomach aches. Your
yeah,
body cannot digest it because it's in dis-ease of the vibration of having that particular food or right.
yeah, yeah. Out of alignment. They say if you hug someone long enough, the heartbeats synchronize. And it's the same with the rest of your environment. Now, I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, specialist, no idea. But once
Hmm.
I discovered the geomancy and some of the other spaces that I work in, I started getting better, and just gradually. And then I started attracting better people into my life that were helping me with my health space as well. And yeah, then I started helping a few other people on as a hobby.
Yeah.
Weren't laughing at me too much, and yeah, yeah, things got pretty horrible in the corporate space, and it was just the universe giving me a message, Pete, you're on the wrong path here.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you can switch your ego off and think, it's one of those things. If I get two or three knockbacks in a certain direction, you got to think, well, am I heading in the right direction, or am I too early or too late? You're on the right path, but it's just the timing's wrong. So yeah, three or four knockbacks. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, that's one of those. Then you start looking into other things and just testing the water to see which direction to head in. The overall direction might be still right, but the path to get there might need to change.
Hmm.
And yeah, being able to park your ego and think, oh, okay, that one's not getting me very far. Let's just stop and have a bit of a deep breath and change direction a little bit. As I say, insanity's doing the same thing day after day and expecting something to change. Something's not moving forward for you, then yeah, something's not quite right. Mm,
Well, and you also brought up the point of when at the beginning of doing what we call the rat race, right? Like
mhm,
getting the house, getting the car, getting the corporate job, having the family. And I know as a female, you guys as males have way more pressure for that because, well, you're the head of the household. You're supposed to bring home all the money. You're supposed to support your family. And it's like, I want people right now listening to this to say, no, whoever's the breadwinner, let that be.
yeah,
Because, like, I think it's the most fascinating thing to watch stay at home dads,
yeah,
right? And it's okay because we're in the time, not only is the new world in Aquarius, but we're also the next 20 years, give or take a year, in the feminine rising. We all have feminine, we
yeah,
all have the masculine. And I think that's part of the healing journey that so many of us have to go on is how do we have the masculine be seen while the feminine's nurturing and raising us up for our inner gifts that we need to share to the world.
yeah. I agree with you there. We both have feminine and masculine within us anyway. It's just a matter of getting it in the right balance. And what you're just saying there a second ago, it's basically their paradigms. We've been brought up to see the world in a certain particular way, and identifying when those paradigms come up is critical to moving forwards. What's
Mm-hmm.
holding me back? What are the belief systems behind what I'm doing that are stopping me moving forward into that new space? And certainly for me, coming from a Christian sort of background in my family and working in the power industry, and everything's black and white and restricted and licensed, and so going from that world of restrictions and boxes that you got to work in to the world of what I call fluff, where there's no box to think outside of. It's just the more your consciousness grows, the bigger picture you see of the world, and you see it differently, and you grow and you change things, and that's the
Yeah.
way of moving forward. So
Well, and it's interesting, like as we talked about in the corporate, how you can see the cycles, you can, right? And you can even bring it back to the caveman days, right? The men went out hunting. They didn't always come back to the same cave,
mhm,
right? Because in our culture, 50% of men don't populate the world, right? And so
mhm,
they would find a cave that there'd be the women of the tribe that they'd all be in their cycle and they go, okay, we're going to populate the world, right? And they go the next cave. And so, like when you think about monogamy, it's very new. It's
yeah,
the culture that we're used to.
it's very restrictive, isn't it?
Well, and then you think about all the people that are having problems with fertility. Yes, it can be the home. It can be the toxins coming up from the earth. It can be you're not supposed to have them, right? But they even say in the modern day, you take an office building, get enough women together, and they'll be all within. They'll be within a day of each other,
Yeah, yeah, they
within
all synchronize
three
that
months.
environment.
Yeah. So it's just, and so when you're working with property or bodies, it's not just property. What is the theme that you're finding in the last 6 months, say, through all
Mm.
this change?
Well, it feels like we've been pushed to change really quickly,
Mhm.
and there's some energies and entities out there that don't want us moving forward and evolving. But we've also got the pressure on us to evolve. So things are out of balance. So even in the earth, there's lots of things that have happened in the earth where people have died and yucky events and things. It's like the earth's evolving with us and it's pumping out all the stuff, all the yucky stuff it's accumulated over the years to deal with as well. And we're part of that environment. You think of us as part of the Earth's microbiome of its stomach, I suppose. We're part of the organisms that make up the Earth.
Yeah.
And so the Earth's going through turmoil, and we're going through turmoil as well. And I think some of us are doing things as well to disrupt that. And I think some bigger cycles in the world that are outside the realms of what we see, and we're probably interfering with some of those as well. Um, definitely, Earth energies and things. We're getting things like underground streams get upset by earthworks. You know, 200 years ago we didn't have machinery or explosives or anything like that, and now we're building all the time, and we're mining, and God only knows fracking and all that sort of stuff going on. Yeah, we're upsetting the earth and the underground streams. You can see all these underground streams from the surface if you know what to look for, and you can see like you've got a hedge, and every second or third tree in the hedge is stunted or not growing or missing. And that's the path of those streams going through. You can actually look down the neighbourhood. Sometimes you can see where those streams are actually going, and they'll actually crack the concrete. Some of these stresses are so strong, and they also bring moisture to the surface, so they can bring mold up into your house as well. You can't see any moisture, but there's moisture in the air, and you get mold and things happening. So it's a number of things sort of stacked up.
Mm. Wow, I just learned way more.
Sorry.
No, that's awesome. It's awesome because see, that's where your engineering or those boxes come into play, right? Because
Mhm.
I've always been in the woo-woo, but surrounded myself with engineers and accountants. And I'm like, why? Because you guys give me the boxes to go bring it in, get the framework, now go again. I go, okay. Right. And so that's very interesting because I thought about a house that I grew up in, and no matter how many trees my parents put in this one area, they didn't grow.
Yeah,
And as I've had work with you, um, the land that where my house sits has lots of waterways that have just been demolished. Instead of being full water storages or full lakes underneath the ground, they're just trickles now. They're all
yeah, okay.
right.
Yep.
And
Yeah, the whole place is changing, isn't it?
well, and it's interesting because I remember when we first put in our system, and everyone's like, subways go underground. Why would you build it above ground? We have too much water underground. They can't put it underground.
Yep,
Or we're
yep.
making the tunnel like they did from England to, you know, wherever, France,
France.
right?
Yep.
I'm like, well, where's my geography? It's failing me, right?
Yeah,
And so that's so interesting that you're talking about the trees. But I also know that through my guides, they're saying our weather pattern is we've been mean to Mother Earth.
yeah,
We have to start being nicer to her, and then make her weather nicer.
yeah. If we're altering the normal patterns, how far out of whack are we going to make it? We're only looking at a short time frame in the eons of the Earth,
Hmm.
and yeah, what damage are we doing there? Yeah. Um, just going back to the underground streams again.
Hmm.
Often they're not polluted, but they change their frequency, and that's what makes them sick. And the earthworks is one of the main things that sort of disrupts those. And yeah, you get a tree that's been in your neighbourhood for a couple hundred years, maybe even. All of a sudden, it dies. Something's happened along
Underground.
the length of that stream, and all of a sudden, it's now under stress. And sometimes you can see that one side of the tree will be dying off, or the leaves will be curling like they're in a microwave. Um, and some parts of the Earth are like there's geopathic stress from geological sources as well, things like microfaults and that sort of stuff happening, and they create microclimates. So whilst the energy there would make us very sick, some things like ants and other insects and things absolutely love those. And if you look from a distance, sometimes you can see different plants, whole new little ecosystem in that stress because it loves it. So
That's fascinating.
I find some geomancers don't treat that sort of thing, but they're asking the wrong questions. I had a chat with a well-respected geomancer once, and they weren't treating these particular lines. I'm thinking you should be able to do something about that. Then I thought, I wonder if the question they're asking is wrong. So and I actually questioned this particular lovely lady, and so I'm thinking when you go to a property, you're wanting to heal the land. And she thought about it for a few minutes. She said, "Yeah, Pete, I think you're right." I said, "That's where we're not finding the answer to this because the land is not sick. It's just not suitable for us to live on. Okay, it's a microclimate. And if you say, okay, now we want to make it safe for humans and animals, then you can come up with some solutions to change that. Let's get in the question right to find the right answers
Well, isn't
and
that the
get well differently."
$1 million question?
Yeah,
If we're
yeah,
asking the wrong question, how are we ever going to find our answers?
yeah, yeah. And this is where none of us have the full picture. No, you're saying that I've shown you some different ways of looking at properties and things, but yeah, you've got your own stuff there too that I haven't understood yet.
Yeah.
So we're not one of us has got all the answers, and so
Well, I
we've got
know
to
that's
collaborate
that's
and
why
share all this.
teamwork and collaboration and stuff is so important because my knowledge is mine. It's what I've learned to from my being on this planet for the years I've been on, and yours is yours, right? And it's just interesting how even our 9 to 5 jobs were similar in different
Hmm.
ways, right? Like you actually were the engineering. I just worked for all of you. Like, and went, ah,
I also look at that space a bit differently too, Adele, in that's not mine. It's just something the universe has shared with me to then put out to the world. And we all download different amounts of that sort of stuff because we're all connected differently. And if as soon as I say it's mine, then I'm guarding it, and there needs to be more people out in the world doing our work. So
well,
people
and
come
and
to
it's
find
interesting.
out stuff. I'll teach it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've had to let that go too. It's like, with clients or whatever, and I'm like, if you're meant to be my client, it doesn't matter what marketing I'll do, you'll find me
Yeah,
because like 95% of my clients, no matter how much internet marketing I do, come by word of mouth,
yeah, yep,
right?
yep.
And
Understand that.
yeah, because you kind of came to me with word of mouth, meaning we're in the same room together on the Zoom, but I was focusing differently until it was like, you gotta talk to him. I'm like, okay, I trust who says go have a conversation with this person. Okay. It's never let me down. And so
Yep.
I'm in the flow of what's organically happening will happen. But let's go back to the fact of, and I know you're really into the Hawkins material with the speeding up,
Hmm.
right? Because everyone you've talked to is saying the longest year of January. I call it the hangover of 2024. Yet we're recording this just barely into February. And it feels like we could be in May.
Yep.
And it's like, so how did January be the longest month of all time? Like I called it like the pregnant pause. Like you're trying to get things going and they just wouldn't go. And it's like, why? What's going on? Right.
Yep.
And now February, it's just like do, like things I've been working on for 6 months could not figure out,
Yeah.
solved
It's falling into place.
in 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Sometimes it's not that you're heading in the wrong direction. The timing's just not quite right. You just got to be
Yeah.
patient. Yeah. So, when I'm working
Yeah.
with people with the goals and things now, I do consciousness coaching stuff as well. And rather than focusing on a material thing that you want, I look at the outcomes of what you're actually trying to bring into your life. So some people saying, well, I want this particular job. I want to be a scientist and such and such and such. Well, I look at the outcomes from that job. So I want a job that gives me the flexibility to be around my family and help my family and provides enough income to give me choice. And uh, I look at
Yeah.
the outcomes from that and relationships and things too, and things manifest differently.
Well, and it's you have that conversation with a 9 to 5er who wants to go into self-employment. And I know both of us have had these conversations because we left that to the difference with me is I grew up with entrepreneurs. So trying to do the 9 to 5 was really hard. I just
Right.
didn't get it, right? Because
Yeah.
I had entrepreneurs around my life. Knowing that your first 5 years, if you make it past the second year, you're doing well because 85% of them don't. If you get into your fifth year, you maybe can see your family more, but the grind, like you're still there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the sixth and, going up, you're starting to say, okay, this is why my family had patience with me. This is why I put in the long hours because now I understand the benefits of not doing 9 to 5. I have the freedom to take a Wednesday off and work Sunday instead, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like date night's beautiful because you're never in the busy time.
Yeah.
You kind of
Yep.
go, let's
That's
go for a date day. Okay.
Yeah, you got that flexibility, don't you? And I've got
Yeah.
grandkids and things too, and I can take a day off or a few hours off and go and do something, and yeah,
Yeah.
you got some sort of control. I've just spent 10 days going around northwest Tasmania, seeing clients. I've got an apprentice up in Penguin, and yeah, seeing clients, meeting new properties, talking to people in caravan parks about what I do. It's marketing on the road, I suppose, and yeah, come back to to a bit of a front log of work, but
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 that's good
I can
though.
work on the road. If I've got an internet connection, I can work basically anywhere in the world, and I can be doing these sort of calls from the caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the whole way of the world's flowing and the life's flowing has changed. Whereas before, I would have been restricted to those 9 to 5 hours and having to do stuff on the weekend and
Well, and
yeah, better
even
life.
starting both of my companies, right? The one that I closed down for the property stuff and then this one, it was in Mexico on the beach that I was kind of like doing meditation, the sun's going down, and I looked at my girlfriend, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll be here working. And she goes, wonderful. Let me know when it's gonna happen. I go, okay. Because she was pivotal to getting me into any of this space, right? And
Okay.
and yeah, so it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be on the beach,
Yeah.
right?
Anyway, that's good. Huh? I've got a son in Perth, and I'm going to go over there and work for a month too, and I get all the jobs that people need me in Perth.
Awesome.
Just put it out there, and often I go over there and get all the jobs back over this side of Australia, but you just go with the flow. I think I worked harder over there last time than I would have been doing at home. So, but then you got to say, okay, and enough's enough. I need to actually take some time out, and I need to do some marriage maintenance and maintenance on myself, and you're going to maintain relationships, and
Well, and that
yeah,
and that's the brilliance of entrepreneurship and also the havoc of it.
yeah,
There'll always be work.
yeah,
Set your schedule.
yeah, yeah. I tell the universe what the hours I want to work, um, and then I find if I work outside those areas, I'm actually not congruent with the boundaries I've already set, and the universe listens to that, and then I start getting more clients out of hours. So I'm
Well,
basically in my system. I say 9 till 5, but other ones by specific appointment. I'm talking to yourself on the other side of the world. I've got to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning at my time to be able to talk to you within the realms of your time of the world.
I
So
was wondering what time it was for you. I'm like, anyways, I let it go. You guys book. Um, but it's interesting because I don't mind having that conversation. Like if you had said, can you open up later? And I would have gone, sure, right? Um, and because I started with a conversation earlier today that was outside of my work hours, and I'm like, but I'm choosing to do it.
yeah,
I
it's your
tested my
choice.
body first, if this is good. And I'm so glad I did because stay tuned, everybody. I'm going on another panel. So I don't know what's going to come out of it. So, but it also felt like coming home.
Yeah.
I just met this lady for a 15-minute call and I'm like, holy, am I home?
Good. You're attracting your people now, aren't you?
Right? And
Because
well,
you're
it's
at the
kind
right
of
place.
like you and me. It was like, I was going, wow, you're interesting. And the more we talk, the more I'm like, oh, we've been together. Oh my gosh. Like, I've known you forever.
Yeah, several lives together.
Yeah, right? Like we might be on different ends of the world, but it didn't matter because you're like my brother from a different mother,
That's it. That's it.
you know?
Yeah. You mentioned that Hawkins space a minute ago,
Hmm.
and Dr. David Hawkins is. I get a lot of my inspiration from his space. He's no longer with us in this realm, but he, through muscle testing, came up with a scale of consciousness,
Hmm.
um, by which you can. We don't have the innate senses for consciousness and to know whether people are telling us what's true and what's false. We might have a little bit of a gut feel, but even in the Bible, they put in, you can't tell a wolf in sheep's clothing, but by their deeds you'll know them. So by using things like the Hawkins scale, you can actually see the person sitting behind that facade that you're seeing, and people are a collection of themselves, maybe, and the other beings that they're carrying. And if they're carrying enough negativity, then the whole bolus of their being actually drops down low on the Hawkins scale, and it's a lower consciousness. So you can tell if someone's a narcissist or a person that you want to invest your time with, or that you can trust. And you can check your courses to see what the consciousness of the course is, and the teachers that are taking it, and the company you might want to work for. It's just
Hmm.
such a tool that you can plan your life and actually make decisions without having so many dead ends. So you can move
Well,
forward with more confidence.
but as you talk about the muscle testing, um, if your body's reversed, you can't muscle test a darn thing.
Oh.
You'll get false positives, false negatives, like, and that's a different course, that's a different class. um, call if you want to understand that. In saying that, it is follow your gut.
Hmm.
Everyone has that BS meter within them. We
Sometimes.
no, we forget.
Sometimes.
No, we forget to keep
We
it
don't
going.
use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah,
child,
we don't hone that skill.
yeah, as a child, we are fully divine. We are fully in the source, God,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. We start losing it at 8
Hmm.
because that's when you fully say, I'm keeping this body and I'm going to keep my contract. But if you're in a house that's nurturing that, they're going to keep it. I never lost mine,
Hmm.
right? And I remember like my grandma saying to me, I'd be like, I don't know, there's just something about that person. And she
Yeah.
goes, a leper will always show their spots, believe them.
Yeah. It will come up eventually, won't
And
it?
I was like, I don't know what the spots are, but okay, I got it. Right. And
Yeah.
so, like going to spend time with your grandkids or whatever, be that beacon of light. They never lose that
Yeah.
marker.
That's it. They're the paradigms that they grow up with. They're the way the filters they see the world through. And yeah, it's so important. And
I
it's
know,
for me, it's
but as the grandparent, we're here to guide. Like your son might have a totally different philosophy, like him and his wife have a totally different philosophy of how to raise your kids, but they will all the grandkids will look go, but grandpa doesn't believe this. Why doesn't grandpa believe this? And you stay with that. Well, I'm not sure where we dropped off, but we're back again and it's being in that frequency. And whether Zoom plays a lot of tricks with me,
Yep.
I'm just getting better at it. I'm like, I
uh,
get you. We're not going down that road. We're not sharing anything that we shouldn't be sharing in a live form. Um, so how does like we were talking about your the grandkids and being the light for them as that separate generation, right? And how do you see yourself being that nurture of their light?
I think you got to nurture their them being inquisitive and you need to test the world as well. So many of us have become beige because we've just gone along with what the world's told us. And when I had one of my interviews with at the lovely Faye was
Mhm.
about what's your superpower. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, Pete, what's my superpower? And I come up with a question mark. I question everything.
Yeah.
If it feels good, should it? If it doesn't feel good, should it? Huh? It's not feeling good because I'm into a new space. And I think that's why I didn't fit into the corporate world because I would challenge stuff that no one had ever challenged before because they were the rules,
Mhm.
supposedly. So you're challenging the rules, and then you're challenging their way of thinking. But you can move mountains when you challenge some of this sort of stuff. I remember being in a corporate meeting actually, and the boss was a pretty solid sort of a person, and no one would disagree with him. And they went around the management team, all agreeing with what he said. And I think I said, I think I'd like to agree with you all, but that'd make us all wrong. And I counted to five, and then the explosion went off. Poof! Oh, one thing he's questioning what he said, and the other thing he's questioned the boss.
Yeah.
They're thinking, and with their egos and things, they just don't like that. But sometimes you're there to do a job, and if you're not questioning stuff, you're not doing your job. Not getting the best
Well,
outcomes for your company in the space you're working in.
and then you have
And
accidents.
yeah,
If you don't
yeah,
question it, why are we doing this? Then the plant blows up.
yeah. And in my space with these earth energies and
Mm.
things, I don't find there's a lot of people around that can teach me stuff. There's people out there, but a lot of them are still working 1,000 years ago, and the
Oh,
world's moved on
interesting.
since then. They got so much knowledge. It's amazing the stuff and their abilities and stuff. But bring them into some of the modern day stuff, and they're still working that stuff. They haven't questioned some of that stuff and see whether it's still relevant or not, or the world has actually changed a bit. And yeah, so if you were, there's no point in staying in that same space. You've got to be green and growing, not ripe and rotting. And so if
That's
you can,
very powerful
yeah,
because just everything I'm hearing in the last like week or two is just like, let it go. Nothing before this moment exists and needs to be worried about.
yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
it.
right? But you digest that in and you're like,
Well, there goes all my stress,
wow.
or half
Yeah.
of it.
And so like you go back to the ley lines of the earth and stuff, and it's like we can say it's a drought, we can say it's raining too much, we can say whatever, but it's also let it go because
Yeah,
Mother Earth is looking after herself. The trees were the first internet. We
yeah,
just think we're the highfalutin tech people. No, we're not.
yeah,
Go hug a tree. Go talk to a tree.
yeah,
Right? You'll see um, where the real life is. And even a friend of mine who's a tour operator up in Banff in the national park. She says, there's more life in a dead fallen tree than there is in a growing tree.
Yeah,
I
that
said,
makes
no, no,
sense.
no. I said, I got to question that. What are you talking about? And so
Life
we actually,
forms.
well, no, we went walking and she goes, here's this tree. The birds have a perch that, whatever,
Yeah,
right? Look at the fallen tree. Look at all the species that now have a home.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone can feed, everyone can grow. And I'm like, interesting.
The new microclimate, isn't it?
Yeah, and so that's what you're talking about. Like, yeah, the tree standing was great information, but the
Mm.
fallen tree is a whole new world of discovery.
Yep, that's what I said about these different
Mm.
microclimates where the energies are different, and they say, well, it's sick, but it's not necessarily sick. It's just a space, a dead tree. The other animals can come in and work their stuff. Now,
Mhm.
if we go back in time, we used to be nomadic. Okay, and if we visited a place and it didn't agree with us, we wouldn't go back. Okay, now we're capitalists and we buy a house and we're going to stay there whether it kills us or not.
Well,
Well,
but okay, so
that's
let's
what's
go.
happened.
We'll just go back to the water, right? Because I used to like everyone says, oh, if you go to Mexico, you can't drink water. I'm like, why not? Well, you won't be able to go anywhere. Why? Right? And then I'm like, okay, so you're going to tell a country that their main industry is tourism. You don't think they're going to have the highest filtration of water
Yeah,
anywhere that you're going to go for a week? Give me a break.
or you
Anyways,
water it down with tequila or something like
well,
that.
whatever, right? Never had a problem.
Yep.
Yet, there is scientific proof. Like, I know this for when people come up here because our water is very, very laden with strong minerals
Hmm.
from the runoff of the mountains, right? Like we have a mountain that we actually go and get water from because it's never seen the light of day,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And yes, you can go to certain places where you won't agree with the water, but it's proven fact in science. Whenever you move further than, say, 25 miles, you are going to have problems with water.
Yeah. Yep.
The microbiome is changed.
Yep.
It's not, like, oh, I'll always get sick. No, it's just the microbiome's changed. Just
Yeah.
like your body naturally throughout the years will change the microbiome. So you check in. What do I have to change in my diet? What do I have to add? What do I got to take out? Right?
Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So,
think, yeah, I go.
sorry. Okay. So as we talk about the water, we're not the water experts. We're the property experts, right? We worry with, the property. What kind of client are you looking for? What kind of people are showing up for you?
Often you find that if people are unwell and they're not getting well, then they've got geopathic stress or some other thing in their environment that is creating their disease or lowering their immune system to leave them open to disease. Um, because you see too that when you go and see a doctor, you go and see them in their environment. Or
Mhm.
when I check a person out, I check them out in their environment, and you got to put the two together to see what's actually really going on there. And so, yeah, people have been sick for a long time. Mental health issues can be triggered by their environment as well. It's phenomena and things that go on properties that can trigger that space, especially if you're an empath and you're sensitive. Just moving onto a property can send you down the gurgler. Um, Also, people who are wanting to move forward and sort of are stagnant. And when I do my coaching side of things, we look at consciousness and clearing out the barriers to you gaining your consciousness and moving forwards. back to the Hawkins space.
Hmm.
He would say a lot of his stuff I'm finding is out of date now. Still relevant, but some of it's out of date. And he would say that you'd move about 5 points on his scale in a lifetime. And I'm finding people are moving hundreds of points in this particular lifetime. So I'm finding that once you grow more than 5 points, you've outgrown your guides, which are your consultants. So you need to update your consultants, or you're getting the same people that are no longer giving you any help. And each time I upgrade my consultants, I get new information. I get new thoughts. Pete, try this, do that,
Hmm.
see this person. And by doing that, you can actually move ahead leaps and bounds, and dealing with your traumas and things. I've come across techniques and developed techniques that are great with things like PTSD. Um, yeah, I had a lady the other day that's been getting help for years, and she had a couple of sessions with me, and she went into a township that she's never been able to go into without having anxiety. Went into a cake shop she's been wanting to go into for 20 years and bought a piece of cake.
Wow.
And she said that her psychiatrist and psychologist, I think it was, would like to talk to me if they could find any science behind what I do. I haven't heard from them, but
Well,
these
but
people have been in that space for years and not gotten anywhere.
I know, but I don't know, like the original tapping was Roger Callahan, right?
Hmm.
The field thought therapy, and he was a longtime psychiatrist, and he goes, these people aren't getting better. Started tapping the meridians, making sequences, and he had an office in his home. And he had one lady who was absolutely petrified of water. Like she couldn't even be near the window that looked at the pool.
Right.
And a couple tapping sessions, and she walked around the pool.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making a difference in someone's life then, aren't you?
Right. And it's like you get to the vibration of where that is triggered, whether it's this lifetime or not, pull it and it's gone. And you're like, you have a whole new lease on life.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can take all these things that we're doing back to universal laws,
Hmm.
and even the universal laws, we're only viewing it from our viewpoint of what our current consciousness is. So we're only thinking what we think the universal law actually is.
Hmm.
But if you go to a counselor or something and they want to talk about your problems, you're still in the same vibration as the problem, so you're still attracting those problems. It's the law of attraction.
Well, and talk therapy
So
doesn't work
yeah,
because the more you talk about it, the more you bring it in, the more you repeat it, the more blah, blah, blah.
yeah, you've suppressed it and it's there to come out later on. That's basically there. If you
Yeah.
get a good one and they can say, okay, let's just acknowledge something's happening, let's move forward. That's good. That's
Yeah.
that's fairly well. But sometimes there's a lesson associated with it, and if that lesson hasn't been learnt, then that bully's waiting for you at the end of the gateway this week, next year, next life, or whatever. So when I work with people energetically, we actually get rid of the emotional charges
Yeah.
about memories and things, and we energetically put some of these lessons in.
And it's
And
also standing in your power,
mhm,
right?
it is. Yep.
Um, I can't remember who it was, but it was just like, oh no, the best thing that ever happened to me is being bullied as a kid. And I'm like, why? Because no one can bug me now.
Yeah.
Everything's already been done. I've grown out of that. It's not going to happen again. I can spot who's the bully and I can pick them up. You're not welcome. Like,
Yeah. So
you
she's
could, yeah.
she's learnt the lesson associated with whatever was happening there.
Yeah.
So she can move forwards now. Yeah.
And she'll be
Yes.
able to help people just in a conversation that are going through the same thing.
Yeah. So if you went down the path of, oh, poor me, I've been bullied, then you're going to stay in that loop forever. But if you
And
can look
that's
back
a,
across that day and say, geez, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be this this strong, resilient young lady that I am today.
so this brings
And you've
me
learned the lesson.
to people that find narcissist because there's psychiatrists that said that was a word that was never supposed to get into mainstream. That was in our like the gaslighting, the narcissist, like all those terms were used in the profession of psychiatry. And now
Right.
they're all mainstreamed. But it's like, um, and maybe you can't answer this, but it's like, what is going on in a person that is attracting these narcissistic people? Like whether it's in a job, whether it's in a relationship, what like would do you have anything for that? Or do you not work with
Uh,
that many narcissists?
oh, they're everywhere. I've got a few of them in my life. I'd rather not have there, but for me, I've got to say, is there a lesson for me to learn out of that situation, or is it someone else's lesson that I'm being caught up in? And work out whether it's my issue or someone else's, and I'm just on the fringe of it. And do I need to help that person through their lesson, or is it something that I need to deal with? And that helps me categorize it and put things in place to try and help things move forward. Someone like
Yeah,
Dolores Cannon would say, there's only a small percentage of people in this world that are actually here to evolve. The rest of them are providing the environment for that to happen.
yeah.
And it's like extras in a movie, basically, and they're coming in to stir us up. The person that I copped a bully in the workplace before I left the corporate world, and yeah, whilst I was in a good space at the time, looking back, I'm thinking, wow, that guy did me a huge favour.
I know.
You know? I was so slow to see that I needed to change that it took someone of his caliber to give me the kick in the right direction.
Yeah.
And maybe he evolved down here just to take one for the team for this life, so that other people can move forward. So sometimes you just need to look at the situation in a bigger picture. And this is what, when I'm talking about consciousness, does. It gives you a bigger picture of the world,
Yeah.
and to be able to see that. And I described it to someone the other day. It just came to me, and they said, "Pete, what's consciousness?" I said, "Well, imagine that wall has a mural of the world on it, and it's a jigsaw, and you're looking at it through a toilet roll, and you're trying to make sense of the whole wall." Okay, so
And
the
you
more
can't move
consciousness
your
you got,
head to see that there's more.
the more consciousness you got, the bigger the toilet roll is, and you see more of the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you haven't dealt with your crap, you can't deal with it because the roll's too big to hang on to. So it's just the way you look at it. But anyway, that's sort of what it is. And I find as my consciousness changes, I'll go back and listen to one of these gurus like David Hawkins or one of those other ones, and I'll actually hear the same words but completely differently. I'll get a completely
Oh,
different message out of the same stuff.
so I'm gonna say, give New Earth a new read.
Yes, yes, I love that book. And Eckhart and I, we're same but different. We were into very similar spaces, looking at things very similarly, but using some different terminology. And that book really resonated with me. I think I've got it as an ebook, and I reckon I've listened to it in the car about 5 or 6 times already,
Yeah.
and got different stuff out of it and real gems out of it each time.
Well,
So
I just finished re-listening to it just before the holidays, and I was like, that's a totally different book, but it's perfect for this time. And um, it's the first and only book Oprah's brought back to her book club
yeah, okay.
because she says, Eckhart, we need you now. And he goes, okay. So yeah, so she's yeah. So it's interesting, right? How you can read something written whenever, like Napoleon Hill will never go out of style. Um,
Yeah,
or D. Waddles, whatever. Like they're just the classics are the classics because they're so far ahead of their time,
yeah.
but they're the perfect time for now.
But they can also stimulate us to think further.
Yeah.
And this is what I think about the education system now. That you go to a educational facility, and they say everything we tell you is truth. Nothing exists outside of that, and you don't question anyone who's been through the same fraternity. So then you stop growth, and you stop people questioning things and moving forward. You're slowing down that evolution of humanity, basically, keeping the cows dumb in the paddock. So yeah,
Well,
hence people don't like me because I question stuff.
I just hope that the school systems for the world changes fast
Yeah.
because it's so broken, and the good teachers are all leaving.
Hmm.
They can't work in the system anymore.
Yeah. I
So
listened. I listened to my grandson. He's just turned 4, and there's no boundaries on what he says, and the little gems that he comes up with are amazing. Whereas if he'd been programmed in a different way, that wouldn't have come out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just nice to hear it from a fresh space that hasn't
Well, I
been
know, but
programmed in a
there's
certain way to think in a certain way.
like my grandniece is going into kindergarten and they already got warned that they have to be vaxxed.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
she's already got issues because of the last vaccination.
Yeah.
It just breaks my heart going, what's your deal? Why are you here?
Yeah. Everyone who's worried about it get themselves done, and then don't have to worry about anyone else.
No, they can't go to school.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying that. Why are you worried if you got your kids vaxxed? Why are you worried about people who choose not to get vaxxed? Because your kids are supposedly safe from whatever's there.
No, I
Anyway,
know,
I
but
won't go down
well,
the rabbit
yeah, like
hole.
I'm still trying to get my niece to homeschool. And she goes, no. I'm like, oh, oh. Anyways,
There you go,
if
a
I
new
live
job for you.
closer, maybe, but no.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I don't
for.
even want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, funny that too. I I've gone through my educational process, and I was thinking I've probably used 5% of everything I've learnt in that space, especially in the engineering space. I only used little bits and pieces of it. But then when I got into doing some coaching, all that stuff comes into life skills,
Hmm.
and all the experience that you've gone through in dealing with things and situations and being able to have that analytical mind to get into spaces. So there's skills, but then they weren't lessons that came through that space.
Well,
Because
and years ago when I used to help people um with job hunting coaching, I'd be like, I don't care what degree you have. What are your soft skills? What do you
hmm
mean? Like, what are your soft skills? You're getting hired for your soft skills, not your degree,
Yep.
right? And even when I was in a different job and I was actually doing hiring because they were going to be my assistant, I was like, I'm being part of the process. And it's just like there's nobody of quality. So we hired the best of the junk.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't help me. But anyway. And then even another guy was like, well, why didn't I get shortlisted for an interview? And I said, well, give me your resume. And I read the resume and I'm like, that's why. But I didn't say that. So I said to my boss, I said, um, he's not shortlisted, but he's wondering why. You want to give him a quick 10 minutes? He goes, sure. And after the 10 minutes, he goes, thanks. I don't want the job. And I go, I know. Right. And that, I mean, that was not even my role as HR. Like I was had nothing to do with HR, but it was just like I had a lot to do with the team. So
Yeah.
I want the team part of me. So I get to be part of this. And they went, okay. But
I
and in my case, I've been very, very lucky to have bosses and supervisors that let me be my quirky self
yeah. Yep.
and not question why I was doing things. They're going, I don't know, she's up to something. Like my one coworker, he'd be like, sometimes you just make me go crazy. I go, you're welcome. Shake it out. And I'd walk away and he's like, what? I go, shake it out. Or one time, like they were just crazy and I'm like, oh, they're not breathing. They're not in their bodies. So I put it on their phones. Bing, breathe, bing, every hour. How do we get it off? And I said, until you guys come into how I can work with you, it's not coming off.
It's not coming off.
You guys are all freaking engineers. Get out of your head. Right?
Yeah, I remember having a robust discussion with a HR lady one stage there, and she was absolutely gobsmacked when I told her that she was actually in charge of the biggest asset in the company, which was people,
I know, but they
and
don't get it.
and their recruiting processes were crap.
Mhm.
Well, sorry, the result of those processes were crap, and we were getting some pretty interesting people, and yeah, they're not good matches for the company. She said it's the soft skills. You can find someone that can draw lines between two things, but someone who can work in the team and make the team better than the collective, and that's rare.
Well, and it's also, I used to see this a lot with women bosses. It's like they're so driven to beat the men and they got, I'm like, but you're not a nice person. At least they're still nice, right?
Yeah,
Like, just be nice, just be you. But they were so focused that they had to be better. They had to, and it's like, no. And I think that like out of all the stuff we could talk about and all the stuff like whether we're working with property or we're working with people's gifts or it's coming back to the natural state. And so having the support, whether it's your home, your property, to nurture those gifts.
yeah, definitely.
So whether they hire you, whether they hire me, whether they hire Bob and Sally, it doesn't matter. Find your person because that's one thing I've learned. Coaches always need coaches
Yeah,
because we're never status quo. We're always pushing the envelope so we can help who's coming up,
yep,
right? And
yep,
yeah, and it's just like just find your people, find your tribe, find whoever that you need to keep you growing because the next 2 years, 2.5 years is the most change we'll have in the next 100.
yeah, yeah. When I run a course, I usually open up by saying that my my aim here is for you guys to outgrow me as soon as possible. Learn what you need from me, go and make it your own. Don't be a clone of me. And even my apprentices, I treat them as colleagues. I'm learning stuff off them as well. So
Absolutely.
and even in our chats, we're sharing, exchanging ideas and looking at the world differently, and thinking, that is a different way of looking at it. Why?
Yeah. Or we
And
just go, time to expand. Let's go. Shoom.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. And I find after running people through what I call my sausage machine to get rid of traumas and emotional garbage that's holding them back at the moment, they get a step change in consciousness and they actually see the world differently. Sometimes they have interactions with people because that aren't nice because the other people around them are struggling to connect. They've come up to here and they're still trying to keep down here, so they'll put on a tanty to drop them down to a level where they can reconnect. But you're seeing the world differently. And when I first started doing some of this training, I did a little bit with another group, and yeah, after the session, they let us loose into a supermarket, basically, or a shopping complex.
Mhm.
Oh my God, just looking at the people, you're much more observant about behaviours and what's going on around you. I know in our space, we're outgrowing a lot of the people that we used to hang around with, and our friendship group is getting much smaller.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're both attracting and wanting to be around different people. We're
The
evolving
higher
differently.
consciousness.
And
And
Hawkins also says that one person who calibrates at 600 on his scale can influence 15 million people. So this is about being a human being, not a human doing. So being at home and working on your own consciousness, that's radiating out, rippling out in the world and changing the world. I checked WA, Western Australia, at one stage, and they all wanted some things to change during the COVID space. And I could find one person operating over 600. And so I did a mass clearing over that way and cleared some rubbish off some people, and then I ended up with six. And then you got six people with the ability to influence 15 million people. And then I started seeing some changes happening over there. So, us sitting in our rooms just doing little things and being that human being can actually make huge changes in the world. So, yeah, don't underestimate your own abilities and capabilities. And I can attract someone in Canada to come and talk to me. So,
yeah, via another Australian
yeah, yeah,
or two.
or two.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like uh, like even when I was getting clients through snail mail,
Hmm.
like you couldn't look up my address. It was a box number. I lived in the country.
Okay.
And I'd be like, how'd you find me? I couldn't get the 6 degrees of separation. Some were just like, okay, I get it. I remember that person. And I'd just get these letters in the mail with a check saying help. You're my last resort.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yep.
like, I don't want to be the last resort anymore. I want to be the first resort. And
Yeah.
if you need supplemental after, then that's different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's,
It's changing that whole mindset of people, isn't it, as to what can help them. They tend to be limited. You got to go and take a tablet, or you got to do this. Whereas there's other options out there that are much more effective and help you in the long term. There's a naturopath that I work with regularly, and she'll say to me, "Pete, I fixed them. I sent them home. They're broken again. Go and fix their house for me, will you?"
yeah.
Because I've
Huh.
educated that particular naturopath, and she knows when her place isn't right, then she's not right. So,
Hmm.
so even people in our own space don't understand the foundations of the houses and things. They're still looking at the person. So it's a matter of sharing that information, and that's part of what it is for me. I don't charge to do surveys on people's properties. People can send me an address anywhere in the world. If I can find you on Google Maps, I'm happy to do a survey and tell you what I find.
Hmm.
Because if they don't go ahead, then I've educated you. And if you don't go ahead, then you'll probably tell someone else who you think might need it. And
Yeah.
that's the way it works. If a client doesn't turn up for an appointment, I'm thinking, okay, someone else needed that spot. Huh?
Yeah.
Just changing your mindset, and that's often what's happened.
No, I know, but I'm laughing because one, um, like that was the fascinating part of when I first met you. It was like, wow, look at the drawings, look at all the squiggles, look at whoa, this is cool. I want to learn this, right? But then also I used to work with the I don't know, a healer of some kind. I actually don't know what her actual thing is, but she's really good at what she did. And she was just I had come into her office and she goes, "You're not my next client." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And she goes, "Holy, do you have power?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You weren't my next client." I said, "Your schedule said I was." So whatever happened to who her client was supposed to be,
Yeah.
they disappeared because I wanted in because I was
You
going
wanted that
away.
spot. Yeah.
So
And you
she's,
manifested that spot.
I know. And so she just like went, whoa, like you're a whole different kind. And I go, I get what I want.
Hmm.
When I know what I want, I get it. And that was the biggest learning when I go through the human design and the gene keys was I was born for this time to help
Hmm.
people find the freedom to come into transparency, to stand in their power, right? I didn't realize before this time that I am the mirror for you. So
Hmm.
if you're not liking what you're doing, don't come near me because I'll mirror it back to you
Yep.
with no judgment. I go,
Yep.
if you don't like what you're doing, change what you're doing. If you want a
Yeah. If
better
you're not,
life, it's up to you. I just show you what you're showing me.
yeah. Yeah. If you're
You
not
know?
up for it, then you're not ready for it.
Yeah. And even myself, like I've been staying like I go out every day, but I don't see people every day. And then last 2 weekends, I don't know, whatever. I went out 2 days in a row to busy things. I was toast on Monday. And Mondays are
Yep.
my busiest days. And it's just like, how am I going to get through this day? I was actually fatigued by all the people energy.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
forgot what that used to feel like. And then you talk about people don't know understand their properties. I was living in this one condo and I was just like, I have this beautiful bedroom. Why don't I use it? And I used to think I was just getting drained by my 9 to 5. Then the week like they started doing some construction around the building, and all of a sudden they opened up the back wall where my bedroom was, and inside went mold.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh,
Sixth sense.
that's why I don't use the bedroom. And the bathroom had a hole that I could see the freeway. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving. See you later.
Yep. Time to move on.
Yeah.
But it's not just your home either. You spend probably a third of your life in the office.
Mhm.
And I find that if some old energies come up here where massacre sites and things have happened, then the building will fill up full of ghosts and things. And if you're at home, then the kids get ratty really really quickly. There's a step change, bang. And if you're in the home, then yeah, people are fighting, and the whole mood changes. And yeah, often you clear the place, and yeah, the whole place just settles again. I was talking to one of my apprentices the other day, and I said, "You getting?" Because I do an energetic hygiene program also, where I clear people who are healers or psychics or people who work around people's fields and clear all the crap that they pick up. Because I look at that space as a food chain, and we're passing stuff on to other people. So we've got a duty of care to keep ourselves clean. And anyway, talking to my apprentice, and I said, "Are you getting the value of these 3 times a week clearings?" And she said, "Well, Pete, it's 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, and the kids are fighting. Everything's chaos in the house, and all of a sudden it goes quiet, and I look up, 7 o'clock. Oh, thanks, Pete." So yeah, she notices it.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of them do see that. Some don't notice the difference, but they've got so much going on that they don't know. But we're still keeping them above deck.
Well, I know, but I
And you
mean,
pick up enough crap and you go down.
even when you did my house, um, you didn't know that I live in the center of the seven treaties, right? And that's when
Hmm.
we go, oh, what happened to our water sources? Oh, it just trickled away. Oh, what happened? Like, right? And it's like, and I've been saying this for most of my life. We're going back to the native way. They go, what are you talking about? We got to be kind to the earth. Walk gently.
Yeah,
Don't leave footprints. Like, you know, be kind to the nature. Hug the tree. Like, if you're going to use an animal for meat, use everything.
yeah.
Nothing goes to waste, right? And I just feel that's where we are now. And your work's proving it. The work I used to do has proved it and still do. And we're gonna wrap it up because like I know we can talk forever. But I try to keep them to an hour. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. What do you wanna what last thought do you want to leave for the audience?
Mm. If you think you need help, sing out. I'm here. Always happy to chat. Happy to check out an address. And so it doesn't cost. I'll tell you what I see. And if that's going to help you move forward in your life or educate you, then yeah, send me a message. I'm happy to help.
Okay. And once again, this is Authentic Conversation with Adele. My guest today was Peter Hursey, the wellness property doctor. All the information will be in the show notes, and all my information will be in the show notes. And if you're being called, we're here to help. And that's the main point. So
Thank you,
thanks.
Adele. Lovely chat.
Wow. What an awesome conversation with Pete. And his work is amazing. And he's actually very clear that if you want a free scan of your home and property, um, he offers that. And it's even if you truly don't understand everything he's saying, it's worth getting because the things are changing so fast in this world. And it's also just that we're in a new world. So why not see? It's like going to the doctor and getting blood tests. It's just, you're getting a split second spot of where your house is to where you are right now. And, working in the space of energetic clearings and land building, it really helps if you get the house scanned before you buy it or before you think you're moving into it. Because I've had clients who I bought my dream home and then they're selling it within a couple months because it's not their dream home. The vibration of the land isn't where they are. And it's learning how to know these things, or like we said, call one of us to know if this property is the one for you. So I hope you like this podcast. Would love it if you could subscribe, like it, leave a comment, maybe even, you know, give me a suggestion on who else you might want to see on the podcast. And I bring it back to authentic conversations. I want the real you when I'm talking to you on this podcast. It's not about what you're selling, it's not about what you do per se. I want to have the human being that is here to step up and to shine their light and to shine their gifts on the world. We're in a new world. It's the Aquarian age. We're going to be here for many, many thousands of years. But more importantly, like we talked about, the feminine rising. This is not women, this is the feminine. We're both masculine and feminine, and the feminine is rising, which is nurturing, which is moving forward. How do you want to move forward in your life? Where are you being stuck in your life? And what gifts are you trying to bring out? If you want to work with me, I'll leave all this stuff in the in the show notes as well. But it's like, let's have a call. Let's just come together. You can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook and book a call. We'll have a quick chat, see where you're at. I have different levels of working with me. It can be like just a quick clarification session, or it could be my 90-day program, or check out a master class. Um, but I'm also here to help you find your gifts. As a transition mentor, your gifts are needed in the world to shine your light. We're all being asked to step up to be our authentic self. And I'm just one of the way showers to show you who you truly are authentically. Once again, this is Adele Bernard from Transition Clarity, and this is season 2 of Authentic Conversations podcast.